military technology. Now we'll come to the advancement in military technology done by the sultans of Delhi, clear, or the rulers of Delhi. Clear? Very important one. Now coming to this. Clear? So there are some questions. Sir, is foliation same as Petra Dura? No, Petra Dura is very different. That was introduced by Noor Jahan in India. Petra Dura is not same as foliation. We'll come to Petra Dura. So was arch and dome technology both introduced by Alauddin Khalji? No, it was introduced before Alauddin Khalji, but Alauddin Khalji began the concept of scientific arch, true arch with the help of keystone in between, and therefore it came to be known popularly as mihrab. Clear? So mihrab because introduced by Alauddin Khalji. Arches and dome were constructed earlier. Alauddin Khalji constructed the first monument known as Quwwatul Islam Mosque, which had arches also, which had dome also, much before Alauddin Khalji. So it was introduced before Alauddin Khalji. Clear? Now we'll come to military technology. Military technology. This is very important. The reason being that all the Turkish rulers who came to India, they defeated the native warriors of India, including the Rajputs, and established the political authority largely due to their advancement in military affairs. Clear? So apart from bravery and strategy they displayed, clear, they also were facilitated by the technological advancement in military sphere, and this facilitated them to be successful, and they ruled over India with force and force alone, which was exercised with the help of military forces and the new technology. So coming to the technology or technological aspect of the Turkish rulers in India. Clear? So first of all, we'll discuss about the major technological advancement done in the military sector. Three major advancements were done. One was in form of iron stirrup. So iron stirrup was one of the major advancement which was done by the Turkish rulers in India. Second was the basically horseshoe. Second advancement, and the third advancement was in form of gunpowder. Was in form of the gunpowder. So iron stirrup, horseshoe and gunpowder. Will have discussion on these three major things. Clear? Now it is clearly accepted that iron stirrup was not unknown in India. Iron stirrup, as it was claimed by Europeans that iron stirrup was not known to India. No, iron stirrup was known to India, and the Persian term for iron stirrup used in the sources of medieval time is rakab. Clear? So rakab or rakab is a Persian term for iron stirrup. Clear? And why this was very important, iron stirrup? Clear? To balance the speed of the horses, either to accelerate the speed or to rather decelerate the speed. Clear? Iron stirrup was used by the horsemen, which was placed on the back of the horse, and they balanced the horsemen in such a manner that they could use the bow and arrow in different directions in the battleground. Clear? So iron stirrup gave them huge amount of control over the running horses, and that enabled them to have huge mobility as required to defeat the adversary power, and therefore iron stirrup became a very important innovation in the military sector by the Turkish warriors in India. Clear? Apart from iron stirrup, they began to use horseshoes. Why horseshoes? Clear? Horseshoes basically mean, in Persian term, the term that is used for horseshoe is Nal. Clear? Basically horseshoe, that is iron nal, was basically fixed on the toe of the horses so that they could run on any topography inconsistent speed. The speed of the horses could not be affected because of difference in topography, and these horseshoes became very important one, and it was sticked with iron nails on the toe of the horses so that they could run at a rapid pace without irrespective of topographical differences. Clear? In fact, clear, this concept of fixing the iron nail on the horseshoes, this concept or this process itself also known as Nal Bandi. Clear? But at the same time, there's some controversy also related to horseshoes. Clear? Because there's a Sanskrit literature known as Salihotra. Clear? It's a Sanskrit literature on horses, and this Sanskrit text is known as Salihotra. Clear? And this text Salihotra mentions the use of iron nails even in ancient India. But since we all know that horses were used in ancient India with the arrival of Aryans in India, but at the same time, this is only textual reference. No evidence or archaeological evidence of horseshoe has been found from ancient India. The iron stirrup or the horseshoes were found from medieval times only, and they were used by Persian term as nal and nal bandi. So even if it is asked, be clear, it was not used in ancient India, even though there's a textual reference to horseshoes in Sanskrit text, that is Salihotra. Clear? At the same time, clear, coming to gunpowder and firearms. Clear? So along with gunpowder, there were some firearms which were also used by the Turkish warriors in India. Clear? Now coming to gunpowder. Clear? Normally, it is believed that gunpowder was introduced by Europeans in India. True. Clear? Portuguese brought the gunpowder to India. They were the first to introduce gunpowder in southern parts of India, and that was even given to Vijayanagar ruler Krishna Dev Raya. Clear? In fact, clear, there's a Sanskrit work known as Sukraniti. There's a Sanskrit work known as Sukraniti. Clear? Salihotra is a work on horses, Sukraniti on gunpowder. Clear? There's a work known as Sukraniti that mentions about the use of gunpowder. Clear? But at the same time, gunpowder was not used in ancient India. Portuguese introduced gunpowder in the 15th century, and that was a big development. Clear? And they came to India with gunpowder. Clear? But gunpowder was first used in India in the warfare by Babur, who was the founder of Mughal Empire in India. Clear? Gunpowder was made by mixing saltpeter, sulfur and charcoal. Clear? So gunpowder was made by mixing sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. And saltpeter, which was produced in the region of Malwa. Clear? So it was first invented in China, but it was brought to India by the Portuguese. Clear? And at the same time, the Mughal ruler, or rather the sultans, did not use this gunpowder. Babur was the first one to use gunpowder. The sultans of Delhi used the firearms, and there's a Persian term for firearms. This is known as Atashbazi. Clear? So Atashbazi is the term for firearms, which was basically used to show, or to be used on occasions, especially to show military victories, and they were used in large number. Clear? In fact, firearms also began to be introduced largely when Portuguese came to India, and later on it began to be used by sultans of Delhi. So both gunpowder and firearms were introduced in India by the Portuguese, but they were largely used by, first of all, by Mughal emperor, and then the sultans of Delhi in form of firearms. So gunpowder was first used by Babur, firearms or Atashbazi was used by sultans of Delhi. Both were originally introduced in India by the Portuguese in medieval times. Clear? So these were three major technological advancement in military department during medieval times: iron stirrup or rickup, horseshoes or nal, gunpowder and firearms, firearms being known as Atashbazi. Remember, two sources mentioned about horseshoes and gunpowder, Salihotra and Supraniti, but these are only textual references. Archaeological evidences is not found. Clear?